Hey friends, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. Have you ever wondered why some leather goods look amazing for years while others wear out super quickly? Not just the quality of leather, it's what's hidden inside. In this video, we're breaking down the world of leather reinforcement, the secret behind the durability and structure in wallets, belts, bags, and watch straps, and many, many more. Let's dive in. Leather is an incredible material. Strong, beautiful, versatile, but on its own it can sometimes be too soft or flexible, which can lead to your pieces sagging, stretching, and losing their shape over time. That is exactly where reinforcement material comes in. Reinforcement is what keeps luxury leather goods looking and feeling premium, stopping them from collapsing and wearing out far too far. Today we're diving into the 3 key reinforcement types so you know exactly what to use for your leather project. That includes bonded leather, microfiber, and leather split. And there will be an honourable mention for both using leather itself as the reinforcement and also using something called velodon. I'm not going too much into that today, but I do want to give it an honourable mention because it is amazing for what you use it for. If you craft leather goods or are just curious about what goes into high quality leather products, stick around. What are leather reinforcements and why do they matter? So, leather is obviously strong. It's one of the reasons we absolutely love to use it. But in many cases, it does need a little bit of extra help. A little bit of extra support, pun intended, to maintain its shape and function over the decades of use that high quality leather goods are going to get. Think about a strid wallet, a watch strap, a bag, a belt, any of these things. Without reinforcement, they would be far too soft and they would wear out much, much faster. Now, reinforcements help prevent stretching. This is a really important part of what reinforcements are and how they help you in your leather products. They help prevent stretching. They add structure and they increase the longevity. They will not make your products last for a zillion years. However, they will help make them last as long as they possibly can. Right reinforcement depends on what you are making. That is the golden rule and what you want to achieve with adding that reinforcement. That is the entire point of reinforcement. What do you want it to achieve? Why are you using it? The 3 types of leather reinforcement, the 3 most common ones. And I'm going to tell you exactly what makes each one unique, and it's a really important thing when you're learning to make luxury leather pieces. Fine, high quality leather goods is using the right reinforcement. So first of all is probably what most people think of when they think of reinforcement, but not all bonded leathers are created equally. When a tannery is shaving its leather down, so when a tannery gets its raw material in from the farm, because remember that bovine leather, the majority of leather created in the world is bovine leather, it's cow skin. When the tannery receives the skins from the slaughterhouse, from the farm to the slaughterhouse will then do their thing, send the meat to whoever it is that deals the meat, and they'll send the skin to the tannery. That's typically how it works. Once the tannery gets it, bovine skin is really thick. It's far thicker than you would want to use in a piece, typically speaking. I'm talking about fine leather goods here. If you're making saddles, it's a completely different thing. However, what they'll do is they'll get that really thick leather and they will shave it down. After it's had the initial tanning process done, they'll shave it down to 3 or 4 mil typically. It comes in much thicker than that. And the result of shaving it down is fibers. It's loads and loads of leather fibers because it's a skin, remember. It's a fibrous structure. So they'll get loads of these fibers and they'll essentially be waste for the tannery. The tannery can't make more leather out of it. Sell it to a company like Salamander. Now, Salamander will turn the bonded leather, the leather fibers into bonded leather. And the way that this works is they mix it with a latex-based adhesive, which is why if you're using a latex-based glue, it sucks in much easier because that's what it's based upon. And I would recommend using a latex-based glue for anything anyway. And then they compress it. Really, really, really condensed leather fibers. And this turns it into not a board, but it's kind of like a cardboard in texture. People that don't know what they're talking about say it's paper. It's not. They produce multiple thicknesses, normally down from 0.6, 0.8, 1 millimeter, 1.2, and sometimes 1.4. And they get thicker and thicker and thicker. You can get 2 or 3 mil thick bonded leather, but I'm not going to go into that because I don't use that. These different thicknesses give you loads of flexibility in your application of the bonded leather. Loads and loads of flexibility in how you want to use it. So I stock 0.6 and 0.8 mil bonded leather. Those are the ones that I keep on the shelf because they are the ones that I use day to day. Now, what is the main downside of bonded leather as a reinforcement is it is not quite as durable as full grain leather, as actually using leather as your reinforcement. It's not quite as strong as this. It's not quite as durable as this because it's a man-made product using natural materials, but it's a man-made product, so it's not quite as durable. However, and it can break down over time if you get a poor quality, and quality is a massive thing with everything. It is immensely important. There are loads of different companies that make bonded leather. The one I use is Salamander, and it's the one I recommend. I'll have a link to it in the description box below. And that is kind of the gold standard of bonded leather reinforcement. There are other companies that make it as well. I'm not going to drop any names. The cheaper ones don't use as high quality latex adhesive. So what can happen is when you're gluing your bonded leather to the facing leather, the leather that you're going to see on the product, bonded leather absorbs too much and you start getting warpage because it's not very high quality. It's really dry basically, and this can either the dryness of it can either lead to premature disintegration or it can lead to warping, and you get your final piece is curved. It doesn't look like how you want it to look. The second reinforcement we're going to talk about is less about giving it a rigid structure, which is kind of what bonded leather is used for. It's to give it more of a structure. Is microfiber. Microfiber is 100% synthetic. It uses no natural materials at all. It's primarily polyester, I think. Polyester or nylon. And it's designed to be lightweight. It's the same sort of thing you clean your glasses with, essentially. Microfibers have more stretch than bonded leather, or leather split, which we're going to come on to in a second. Very useful on a project you want to maintain a soft hand, so you want it to feel soft in the hand instead of bonded leather will give you a much more rigid piece, still giving more weight and more body, so you get a little bit more body to your piece, but you also get less rigidity than if you were adding bonded leather. So that's where microfiber comes in. Now, leather split. This is typically what people think of when they think of reinforcement. It is when leather is split down. So when leather is reduced in thickness, not the shaving part, I'm not talking about that anymore, but when it's finished, when you have a leather instead of the raw hide, when leather is finished, they will take the thickness of it down. They'll take it down from, let's say, 5 mil to 3 mil, or 3 mil to 1 mil, whatever it might be, and you'll get the fibers. You'll get the fibers from underneath the leather as a sheet. That's what leather split is. It's used for reinforcement, but it's also used as a fantastic prototyping medium because it's really, really cheap. You can get a side of bonded leather for like £30, maybe even less than that. I don't quite remember. I'll put a link to some in the description box below. It's really, really cheap. You may not even need to buy it. If you have a splitter, a pull splitter, or if you have a machine splitter, you won't even need to buy split. you have it by the bucket load. The main reason I personally use leather split is for watch straps, because you want to give it that padded effect. You don't really need to use like a full grain veg tan inside a watch strap, because you're never going to see it. You're just using it to fill out that watch strap. Or a belt. So if you're doing a raised line belt like I did recently in a couple of my videos, you want to get that raising strip down the middle. Now you could use a bonded leather, but I personally prefer using a split for this, simply because I think it gives it a nicer feel than using a bonded leather. You can absolutely use a bonded leather if you want to, but I like to use a split. Bonded leather can be far cheaper for the reasons I previously stated, because tanneries have it by the truckload. Splitting services have it by the truckload, so it's far cheaper. One of the main downsides to leather split is that it has little to no stretch resistance. So if you pull it, it will tear. It's that simple. There is no top grain to leather split, that because it's the top grain of leather that keeps it all together. That is the part of leather glued together, if you like. It's all the pores and the physiology of the top layer of leather that keeps it together. So if you try and pull leather split, you will tear it. If you glue it to something, that glue will keep it together. So if you're gluing it to a belt or a watch strap, for instance, you will be adding strength to that piece when you glue it together. Now, I know I said there were 3 types, and I want to give an honorable mention to 2 things. Using leather itself, so some people use either goat, or if they're an absolute baller, or they use a box calf, both of which, box calf is quite a lot cheaper than goat, and they will use that as the reinforcement. It's stronger than bonded leather, it will last longer than bonded leather, but it's also much more expensive than bonded leather. So if you're not concerned about the price, which some people are not, they will use a leather to reinforce a leather. Which, you do you, bro. However, you'll be paying for that, because you'll be paying for leather instead of bonded leather. The reason they use a lot of goat is because goat has a very dense fibrous structure. So you can get it to about 0.8 to 1 mil and keep the majority of its strength. With some / a lot of calf skin, their fibrous structure is much looser. So if you take it down to 0.8 mil, it's a lot less strong. It's a lot weaker in its structure than a goat skin is, for instance, which has a much denser fibrous structure. Which reinforcement is right for you? Let's call them rules of thumb. You don't have to follow them. Please experiment on your own. That's part of learning a craft. Wallets, belts, and watch straps. Bonded leather is a fantastic option. For soft and flexible bag, microfiber works fantastically. A mix of cost effectiveness and strength, leather split is a great way to go. It's also fantastic for prototyping if that's something that you want to get into. And if you're an absolute baller, why not reinforce with box leather or goat skin? Those are 2 amazing options I would use any day of the week. However, they're heavier and they're really expensive. And finally, how do you attach bonded leather to your piece? You glue it. You glue bonded leather to your piece. Majority, you fully laminate. 100% of the surface is attached. If you want a little bit of more flexibility, you can glue just around the edges. This is not as commonly done, but you can do it. It also leads to a more repairable item if you just glue it around the edge, but you won't get the rigidity if you want the rigidity. Using the right adhesive is really important, and I have an entire video which I'll link down in the description box below on what adhesive you should use for your leather project and how to glue stuff together, basically. Thank you guys so much for watching. Which reinforcement do you prefer? Drop a comment in the description, drop a comment below. Tell me which reinforcement do you like And why? Why do you like the one that you like? Why do you choose it? And if you haven't tried reinforcement yet, let me know after you've tried it which one you like. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like, comment and subscribe buttons. And I can't wait to see you next time. Have a phenomenal weekend. Take care.